No one expected a miracle to arrive on Christmas Eve. But when the doorbell rang that cold night, a widowed father opened the door and froze. Because standing on his porch was a young woman in torn clothes, shivering, holding a small bag that looked almost empty. And the first thing she whispered was, "I am here for you, if you still want me." That moment would change his life forever. The story begins in a quiet, snowy town. Daniel Harper was a 38-year-old widowed father raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. For 2 years, he had lived with a kind of silence that sinks into a home after loss. He worked long hours as a carpenter, cooked simple meals, helped Lily with homework, and tried his best to be both father and mother. But the loneliness in his house grew louder every day. His friends worried about him. His parents begged him to consider companionship. But Daniel always said the same thing. "No one deserves to step into a home where the memories of my wife still live." He believed that loving again meant betraying the woman he once cherished. But everything changed the day he received a letter through an old family introduction program. A distant relative overseas knew a woman who wished for a modest, quiet life with a kind man. Her name was Alina. She was 26, soft-spoken, from a small village in Eastern Europe. She had no parents, no wealth, no grand dreams, only a hope for a home where she could belong. Daniel hesitated for weeks. He did not want to replace his wife. He did not want Lily to feel confused. But the nights felt heavier, the work felt harder, and Lily often whispered to him, "Dad, I miss having someone who hugs you too." So he wrote back. They exchanged letters for a month. Alina's writing was gentle, humble, and full of gratitude. Not once did she ask for money or gifts. She only asked one thing. "If I come, may I take care of your daughter as my own?" Something inside Daniel softened. And so, 2 days before Christmas, she said she would travel. Daniel cleaned the guest room and bought a warm winter coat for her. He imagined her arriving nicely dressed, polite, prepared, maybe nervous but hopeful. But when the door opened on Christmas Eve, nothing matched what he imagined. She looked exhausted. Dust on her clothes. A tear on her sleeve. Red from cold. And her hands held only a thin cloth bag. Lily peeked from behind her father. "Dad, who is she?" Alina lowered her eyes. "I am sorry for my appearance. I came as fast as I could." Daniel felt a mix of concern and confusion. He invited her inside, gave her a warm blanket, and asked gently, "What happened?" She hesitated. Her voice shook. "It is not important. I am here now. That is what matters." But the truth was far more heartbreaking than he expected. A little later, as the snow fell harder outside, Daniel sat with her at the dining table. She still refused to meet his eyes. Lily watched quietly from the couch, hugging her stuffed rabbit. Daniel spoke softly. "You do not have to hide anything here. Tell me what happened." Alina took a deep breath. Her fingers trembled around the warm cup he had offered her. "My journey was not safe," she began. "I sold almost everything I had to afford the travel cost. My coat was stolen on the way. Someone took my luggage at the station. I had no one to ask for help. I did not want to disappoint you by being late, so I arrived like this." Her voice cracked. "If you want me to leave, I understand." Daniel felt a sharp sting in his chest. This woman traveled across countries with nothing but faith in a stranger. Not for money. Not for comfort. But for a chance to belong somewhere. He shook his head gently. "No. You do not have to leave. You are safe here." For the first time, she finally looked at him. Her eyes were tired, but full of sincerity. Then Lily walked up slowly. She held a small red scarf in her hands. She wrapped it around Alina's shoulders and whispered, "You look cold. You can use this." A single tear ran down Alina's cheek. "Thank you, sweet girl." The next few days changed everything. Alina helped in the kitchen, sang softly while folding laundry, fixed small things around the house, and prepared Lily's favorite breakfast. She did everything with care, not because she was trying to impress anyone, but because it made her happy to be useful. One evening, Daniel noticed Lily laughing again, really laughing, after months of silence. Alina was teaching her how to braid hair. The house felt warmer in a way he had forgotten. But whispers began in town. Some people said Daniel brought a woman from overseas because he was lonely. Some said she married for documents. Some judged her worn clothes and quiet nature. Daniel heard it all. One afternoon at the hardware store, a man said loudly, "You think a girl like that came for love? She came for a better life." Daniel felt anger rise in his chest, but he stayed silent and walked away. Still, doubt crept into his heart. Had he really made the right decision? That night, he found Alina sitting alone near the window, holding her small cloth bag. Inside it, he saw only two items, a faded photo of her parents and a tiny handmade cross. Daniel asked quietly, "Why did you really come here?" She looked at him with honest eyes. "Not for a better life, Daniel. For real life. Where kindness still exists. Where a child smiles. Where a man speaks with respect. I am not used to being valued. I came because I felt your home needed warmth. And maybe I needed it too." Her words struck his heart deeply. He realized she was not the one hiding anything. He was hiding his fear of loving again. And then came the moment that changed everything. On Christmas morning, Lily ran into Daniel's room. "Dad, wake up. You need to see something." Half asleep, he followed her to the living room. There, by the small Christmas tree, was Alina. She had placed something wrapped in newspaper on the table. It was a gift. But she did not have money, so Daniel wondered how she managed to give anything. She whispered, "I made this for you and Lily." Daniel opened the wrapping carefully. Inside was a small wooden carving of three hands holding each other. The details were delicate. The craftsmanship, perfect. It looked like something sold in a fine boutique. He stared at it. "Alina, how did you make this?" She smiled shyly. "I used tools from your shed. I learned carving from my father. I wanted to give you something that shows, family is not always blood. Sometimes, it is choice." The gift felt like a message straight to his heart. Before he could speak, Lily tugged on his sleeve. "Dad, she's good for us. She makes home feel happy again." Alina's eyes widened with emotion. Daniel finally understood what had been missing in his life. Not a replacement. Not a second marriage. But a second chance. He stepped closer and said quietly, "Alina, you came here with nothing, but you gave this home everything." Her eyes filled with tears. He continued, "I do not want you to feel like a guest. Not anymore. If you want to stay, truly stay, then this is your home too." She covered her mouth as tears fell freely. "Yes. I want that. More than anything." And Lily hugged her tightly. From that day on, their home changed. The laughter returned. The warmth returned. And Daniel realized something profound. Sometimes God sends the right person at the moment when our heart is most ready to heal. Alina would later become not just a companion, but a partner in every way that mattered. Not because of a program. Not because of loneliness. But because she taught them that love does not always arrive the way we expect. Sometimes it arrives in rags on a snowy Christmas Eve, carrying nothing but sincerity. Moral lesson: the greatest gifts in life are often wrapped in humility, sacrifice, and quiet courage. True worth is never in appearance, but in the goodness someone brings into our lives. For more heartfelt stories that restore faith in love, family, and kindness, make sure to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more inspiring storytelling.